The end of September. Charleston Harbor still warm at 9 in the evening. Easterbrook and Company's wharf strung with lights for the autumn gala. Owen Trask was finishing a winch repair at the next slip 8 months on the yard, work jacket damp at the collar. The guest's voice carried across the dock, something about Marlowe getting any man she wanted. Then she was walking past him. She stopped. Owen said it before he could stop himself. "Whoever ends up with you's gonna be a lucky guy," Marlowe answered, almost too quiet to hear. "Was hoping that would be you. If this opening pulled you in, drop the word stay in the comments before we go on." 6:30 in the morning. Fog sat low over the slips, and the wood of the dock was still wet from the night. Owen walked the long way around the gala wreckage. The crew had not taken down the lights yet, and went straight to the workshed. Calder Voss looked up from the coffee pot. He was the only one who held Owen's eyes a beat longer than usual. He said nothing. He poured a second cup and pushed it across the bench. By 7, Owen was home. The kitchen of his small woodhouse in Mount Pleasant smelled of toast and the salt that came in off the marsh. His daughter Hattie sat at the table in her school uniform, drawing a boat on the back of an envelope. The boat had a square sail, which was wrong for the hull she had drawn. "You came back late," she said. "Finished a winch." "Just a winch?" "Just a winch." She accepted that. She turned the pencil and added a flag to the mast. On the 14th floor of the Easterbrook office tower, Marlowe stood at the window with a coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. The harbor below was the color of zinc. Her chief of staff Adler Quinn knocked once and entered. He had a tablet under his arm and a careful face. "Royce filed the Marquardt agenda this morning," he said. "Special shareholder meeting in 2 weeks." She nodded. "Marlowe, I heard you." He waited. She did not turn. After a moment, he set the tablet on her desk and left. She did not look at the tablet. She looked at the photograph on the credenza, her father at the helm of Halcyon, 12 years ago, her own younger self beside him squinting against the sun. At noon, she came down to the yard. No appointment. The workshed door was open, and Owen was crouched beside a keel, sanding a join. She stopped 3 meters away. He felt her before he saw her. He stood. "Repair list for the Bermuda tender," she said. "I would like it by Friday." "You will have it Thursday." She nodded. She did not move. "Anything else, Miss Easterbrook?" She looked at him. He looked at her. The yard around them, the gulls, the slap of a halyard, the low growl of a generator did not pause. "No," she said. "That is all." She turned to go. He let her get 4 steps before he said it. "I should not have said what I said last night." She did not turn around. "You think I would have answered if you had not?" She kept walking. He stood with the sandpaper in his hand for a long minute after she was gone. Then he sat down on the keel and put his head in his hands, not because he was hurt, because he was not, and he could not understand why. At the end of the day, he stood at the edge of the dock and watched the tide pull out. Calder came up beside him with 2 open bottles of beer and put one in his hand without asking. "You wanted to say it," Calder said. "I did not want to say it last night. There is not a right night for that kind of thing." They drank without speaking until the lights came on across the harbor. The next morning, Marlowe stayed in her office past the usual hour. She had a stack of brief memos on the desk and she read none of them. She stood and walked to the photograph and lifted it down from the credenza and put it flat on the desk. Halcyon. Hull line that her father had said was the most beautiful one he had ever signed off on. He had said it at the launch in 2014. She had been 22 and standing beside him with her hand on his arm, and she had asked who designed her. He had said, "The boy is too young to ruin with attention." Marlowe had laughed. Her father had not. Adler came in with the morning agenda. He glanced at the photograph on the desk. He glanced at her. "Trask at the yard," he said, as if it had just occurred to him. Calder mentioned he used to work in the Boston Design subsidiary. Marlowe did not look up. How long ago? 12 years, give or take. Calder did not want to say more than that. She thanked him. She waited until he was gone. Then she put her hand flat on the photograph and held it there as if to keep something from rising out of it. By midday she was at the yard. She walked past the workshed without stopping and found Owen in the storage building behind the slipways, where they kept the older hulls the company had built for itself. The doors were rolled open. He was crouched beside the keel of an unfinished hull. She did not wait for him to stand. "You designed Halcyon." He did not stand. He set his hand flat on the floor and rose slowly. I designed Halcyon. The light came in from the open door in a long slant. Dust hung in it. Outside, the gulls called and were answered. My father chose you when you were 27. He did. He told me he could not name you because attention would ruin you. He told me the same thing about silence. She sat down on a coil of cordage, as if her legs had decided for her. She did not cry. She held herself very still, the way a person does when a wave has come up unexpectedly, and they are deciding whether to brace or let it pass through. You were going to lead the design division. I was going to. What happened? He did not say Diana's name. He said, my wife was sick. We came home. She lived 18 months. After she was gone, I went into the studio and looked at my drafting table and knew I would hate the next line I drew. So I did not draw it. Marlowe was quiet for a long time. Why did you come back here? Because Halcyon is in this building. Because the harbor is where Hattie grew up. Because Calder needed a carpenter, and I needed work, and there was nowhere else I was willing to be. She nodded. She stood. She did not touch him. She walked to the open doorway and stopped with her hand on the doorframe. You should have let him say your name. He understood why I asked him not to. I know he did, she said. He always did. She left. Owen stood in the slant of light and did not move for a long time. 3 floors up in his private office, Roy Stannard opened the locked drawer of his desk and took out a sealed envelope marked Easterbrook Codicil Trust, 2014. He looked at it. He put it back. He picked up his phone. Move the meeting up, he said. 2 weeks is too long. Owen came home that night, and Hattie was at the kitchen table again, drawing. She had drawn the square sailboat again, but this time she had added a smaller boat beside it with a triangular sail. That is correct rigging, he said. I know, she said. I went to the library. He kissed the top of her head and sat down across from her. Dad? Yes. Tomorrow are you going to work early? Yes. She colored in the smaller boat. Is she pretty? He set the salt shaker down very carefully. Hot tea. You do not have to tell me. She did not look up. She finished the sail and started on the waterline. Owen watched her for a long time and did not know what to do with the part of himself that had just been seen by his daughter. The next morning, Marlowe sent him an email through the company portal. It was 3 sentences. A client in Bermuda had commissioned a 38-foot tender custom build. She wanted to discuss the design parameters. Could he come up to the office at 2? He came up at 2. Her office was on the 14th floor, full of gray light off the water. She closed the door behind him. She did not sit at the desk. She sat in one of the 2 chairs by the window and gestured to the other. I am not the carpenter for that build, he said. I know. Then why am I here? She did not answer right away. She set a folder on the small table between them and did not open it. This is not a request to be the carpenter on a tender, Owen. This is me asking if you want to come back. He sat down because his knees told him to. I am not coming back. Why? He looked at the harbor through the window. A pilot boat was crossing toward the cruise terminal. He had not said any of this out loud to anyone except Calder, and Calder had not asked questions. For 8 months at the end, Diana was in a bedroom I had painted ocean blue because she said she wanted to feel like she was already in the water. I did not draw a single line for those 8 months. After she died, I went into the studio and looked at my table, and I knew if I drew the next line I would hate it. So I have not drawn one in 4 years. If I draw one now, I will know whether I hate it, and I am not ready to know that. Marlowe sat very still. Thank you for telling me, she said. She did not try to talk him out of it. She did not lean forward. She put her hands flat on her knees and looked at him with a kindness that did not ask anything of him. There was a knock at the door. Adler opened it before she could say, "Come in." "Sorry," he said. "Mr. Trask, your daughter's teacher tried to reach you. Your phone is off." Owen stood up. Behind Adler, in the reception area, Hattie was standing very small beside a young woman in a school cardigan. Hattie had her backpack on and was holding a folded permission slip in both hands. Marlowe walked out before he did. She crossed the lobby and crouched down so she was eye level with Hattie and held out her hand. "I am Marlowe," she said. "Your father has fixed boats for my family since before you were born." Hattie took her hand. "I am Hattie." "I know." The teacher said something about an after-school program and a missed pickup. Owen heard it and did not hear it. He stood in the doorway and watched his daughter take a stranger's hand without looking at him first. The tropical storm shifted direction in the afternoon. The National Weather Service moved the cone over Charleston by 6 in the evening. By 8, the marine forecast was a band of red, with gusts to 45 knots expected after 2,200 hours. 63 hulls were moored in Easterbrook Slip.